Today we're going to be going over Latinos and discrimination. I'm Lainey Skillings. There are about 59 million Latinos in the nation. Latinos are one of the youngest and fastest growing groups in the United States today. According to Pew Research, there's 4 in 10 Latinos that have expressed that they have personally experienced discrimination in the United States. Discrimination in Latinos vary by age. So 65% of Hispanics that are ages 18 to 29 say that they have experienced discrimination because of their ethnicity. For those over the age of 50, 35% say that they have experienced discrimination. So it's seen that the younger generation is experiencing more of this discrimination. Since our current president, Donald Trump, won the election, half of Latinos have expressed that their situation in the United States has actually become worse. The Trump administration started a zero-tolerance policy that affected thousands of families because of separation. Latinos are now more than ever concerned with their place in society, and they fear deportation with their family, friends, and loved ones. According to Pew, there are many different definitions of the American dream, but they have seen it as being a hard worker, having success in your career, being financially secure, and knowing that the next generations will only become better than the ones before. Americans also view life milestones to be a part of the dream. These are things like graduating from college, owning a home, and giving your family and kids a life that is better than your own. So what does the American dream have to do with Latinos? Well, Latinos have expressed that trying to achieve this American dream can be difficult for them. Pew Research states that there's about half of Latinos, 51%, that express that they have achieved this dream so far, but about 74% say that this is difficult for people like them to achieve this kind of dream. In the United States, Hispanics are more likely to believe in the core features of the American dream than the general public. Many Latinos' concerns and worries are what is holding them back to achieve this dream. So some ways that make it hard for Latinos to achieve this American dream is when they're personally experiencing discrimination. So research has shown from Pew that Latinos have personally experienced discrimination by being criticized for their Spanish-speaking language. They get called offensive names. They're being told to go back to where they came from, or they're getting unfair treatment. So those are not the only ways Latinos have been discriminated against. They've also been discriminated when applying for jobs, trying to be promoted or get equal pay, renting or buying a house. They also experience discrimination with police, medical issues, applying for college, and participating in politics. One thing that I found when researching was the healthcare discrimination in Latinos. So research shows that Latinos are considered an underserved group because they are less likely to get the healthcare they need. There was a study conducted with 349 adults ages 18 to 25 that were living in rural areas in Oregon. Almost 40% of these people explain that they have had healthcare discrimination. The discrimination included things like being hassled, feeling not important, and being prevented from services when trying to get the health care they needed. Housing discrimination is also a big thing in the United States. Things such as schools, jobs, transportation, parks, and hospitals are all qualities that influence someone's life. and these qualities are closely tied to where one lives. So the Department of Housing and Urban Development shows that the Latinos looking to rent a house are informed 12.5% fewer houses and are shown 7.5% fewer homes than whites. So when there's limited housing options for Latinos, there's also limited opportunities for them. On the other hand, the two things that the Latinos rated really high on in correlation with the American dream was being a good parent and having resources to provide for their family. So Latinos come from a collectivist culture where they care more about the group, so their family, instead of an individualistic culture where they care more about themselves. Latinos really, really want what's best for their family and how to provide for their family. Unfortunately, Latino children are affected by discrimination. There are 10 million children in the United States that come from Latino immigrants. Adolescence is a time where many different changes occur that can be stressful. So adding on discrimination is just yet another challenge for these youth. So when it comes to Latino adolescents, perceived discrimination is a huge risk factor. Discrimination by peers can be extremely harmful for adolescents, especially because of the importance that is placed on peer relationships during this time of the youth's life. Research has shown that perceived peer discrimination in schools is connected with adolescents externalizing behaviors. Research has shown that Latino adolescents have reported discrimination and feelings as if they are an outsider in their schools. Depressive symptoms have been associated with this perceived discrimination for Latino boys and girls, and it controls their self-esteem. So how do parents come into play with their children experiencing this discrimination? Well, parents play a huge role when it comes to the adolescent's life. They are the primary socialization mediators for their youth. When it comes to parenting, research has shown that adolescents that experience negative parenting behaviors are more likely to rebel against their parents' wishes and opinions. So when the child is constantly seeing negative behaviors in their parents, they will more likely be involved in risk behaviors. But when there's warmth in the parent-child relationship, it shows the youth that they are more valued and accepted. And this is what children want. They want to be valued. They want to be accepted by their parents. And so showing this and giving this to the youth can be extremely helpful. Here are a few things that parents can do to support their children when they are faced with discrimination. They can comfort their children to make sure that they know that they are safe. They can educate their children about documentation status. Encourage the children to expect discrimination, therefore adapt to it. Model. Be a role model. Advise to the children and advocate for themselves and others around them. Build your children's ethnic pride. And talk to your children about the importance of diversity. Doing all these things show the child that just because they are feeling a certain way about being discriminated against, they are important still. If you are being discriminated against, here are some things to be aware of. Don't pretend that it isn't happening. Don't ignore discrimination. When ignoring the behavior, it will most likely escalate the problem. Seek advice. Talk to the people that can provide professional advice and support. Take action. The most effective way to stop discrimination is to take action by confronting the situation immediately. Tell the person that is discriminating that this is unacceptable. If you do not want to do this in person, you can send it through a letter or do it through email. If this behavior is ongoing after confronting the person, it's time to get professional help involved. And keep records. Make sure that you keep records on details of the discrimination right when it takes place. Make sure to keep letters, emails, voicemails, texts, etc. So here are some ways to help prevent discrimination. Make sure that you say something when you see or hear discrimination. Don't ignore it. Don't go along with discrimination even when it's brought up as humor. Choose not to make jokes or comments of a discriminatory nature. Encourage diversity in work and school environments. Be aware that some cultures may be different than yours, so they may interpret things differently. And offer support and resources to anyone that you see that is experiencing discrimination. Discrimination has made it hard for Latinos to achieve the American dream. Although most Latinos express that living in the United States has become hard, the majority express that they are proud to be an American because of the better opportunities and growth that they can achieve here. Latinos will keep fighting and striving to achieve this American dream, and all we can do is help them.